You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom.
God, that's something I was going to say, and I can't remember what that was now. But essentially, in light of the fact that I can't remember what the hell I was going to say before, so this channel is here. Oh, yeah, so you're a woman, right?
I am.
Yeah,
I hope so.
In today's day and age, you can't really make assumptions nowadays.
You can't.
You really
That's
can't.
true.
I
Very
wouldn't-
polite
I
of you
wouldn't
to
want
ask.
to misgender you.
Well, you
I
were
don't
correct.
want to do that.
You were correct.
All right, sweet. And do you ever feel like sometimes men do stuff and you just don't know what's going on? You're baffled,
Yeah,
confused,
definitely.
right? Flabbergasted. You're like,
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
sweet. So I feel like every other woman who's watching feels the same way.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I'd like to introduce you all to The Truth About Men, hosted by me, Kieren, and today's with me, the lovely Abigail.
Hello.
So if you feel like the men in your life are strange, weird, you just don't get them at all, this is for you. We're here to decode what's going on in the male brain so that your dating life can be easy, cohesive, just a joy and not this back-breaking pain and heartache. So, you've got a question.
I have a burning question. Yeah.
Burning question.
Burning question.
A burning question.
Yes,
Okay, so
quite painful, you know.
okay, well, hit me. What's your burning question?
My question to you is, why do men always go in with the sex talk so early on? So an example of this is, I don't know, say you've matched with someone on Hinge, okay? Because this is a regular, you know, everyone's on that these days. You've matched with someone on Hinge, you're going through their profile and you're thinking, wow, this guy's into the same things as me. Yes, he's attractive, that's a bonus. He doesn't live far from me. Wow. And then he comes with, I don't know, an opener and it's funny. So you're laughing, you're like, wow, he makes me laugh. This is all going good. I'm loving this. And then you exchange numbers and the next thing you know, you've got his number, you start talking more and then he starts sending you like the wink emoji and you're like, it wasn't really like an expression with a wink on. I'm like, okay, just carry on the conversation. And he starts pushing and pushing with these kinky little comments. And I'm like,
What sort of kinky little comments were you talking about?
I'm trying to give you an example now. Like, little things like, I don't know, I can see that you're a troublemaker, wink face. When I would have just been talking about spag bowl or something like that. Like something really random. And then he starts talking about changing the avenue and diverting the conversation to like cheeky talk, which is all well and good and I don't think is a bad thing if you're getting to know someone, but Jesus guys, hold back.
All right, so there's a couple of things I want to say.
Please do.
So number one, I want to deal with what you've actually said, but also deal with something that might be going on that you don't even realize. Something that happens a lot to men is that you will say things to a woman in text message and she completely misinterprets it.
I agree.
7% of your communication is actually the words that you say. So, yeah. So basically the feeling that you're getting from me or anyone who's watching me, only 7% of that is specifically what I'm saying. The rest of it is, the fluctuation of his voice. And the rest of it is like my body language. There's all of that stuff. So he said, if I just use your example of, you're a troublemaker. Now, here's the thing, right? So it could be like, you're a troublemaker. It could be like, you're a troublemaker. Like, is
it ever that though?
My point is this. Like, I'm not saying that guys don't push the envelope and be sexy. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is this, and I know this as a guy who coaches men and deals with this kind of stuff, is when you're sending text messages, right, it is incredibly common for women to misinterpret what you've said and take the worst faith interpretation of your message and assume that that's what you meant. Okay? Now, if we just use the word, like for instance, I had a woman once, and I will also speak about guys getting sexual, okay? But I had a woman once where we were trying to arrange a date and it wasn't really working, like just trying to get the days out and whatever. And I said, you know what? I really love your enthusiasm. Because like, I was loving the fact that she was engaged and she wanted to find a date. And it wasn't like she was just passively going along with it. Like she was part of it. She got offended by me saying that and she ghosted me. Yeah. And then like a couple of days later, I sent her a message, or a week later, I forget when. And I said, what happened? seriously, like, what happened? And she was like, well, you said this, and because you said this, it meant that, and because that meant this and this. And she was like, boom, 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 boom. I was like, you misunderstood me completely. I didn't mean that at all. And now I know that she like spoke to her friends and she was like, I met this guy and could you believe it? He said this and whatever. I know that she said that.
That's quite funny.
I know she did. And like I was like, and then I saw her in the street, right, just randomly, and I said, look, right, I just need to tell you, you really got that whole situation wrong. I didn't mean that at all. That's a possibility. Now, let's talk about the times when it's not and when guys are pushing the envelope and being sexual. Because now let's talk, right? Here we go.
Well, yeah, but I mean, going off the back of the conversation, I am speaking off an experience. I was trying to like, brush it off as if it wasn't mine, but it was mine. So I know he's saying you could be a troublemaker. I'm not going in on him at all. You know, I'm like, okay, that is fine. He's probably just having a little joke, and that's fine. That's cool. I don't mind that at all. But you then it keeps talking about, like, I don't know, could you handle it? Like, we'll be talking about my height. I'm like, I'm only short. Like, he's like, yeah, I know, I'm 6 foot this. Can you handle it? And I'm thinking,
okay, so
this is. I'm sorry, this is going down a tunnel. I haven't met you yet.
Let's go down. Can you handle it? Oh, okay, but here's the thing. All right, just to play devil's advocate. So when he says I'm 6 foot this, can you handle it? Are you sure that he didn't mean, can you handle how tall I am in relation to you?
I mean, I would love for that to be the way that he wanted it to be. But then for him to then say after that message, and my measurements are douche.
He said his measurements.
I can show you the message. I can show
I'd
you.
be quite interested to see.
He goes, I'm a bully in every department.
Jesus Christ.
And then I said,
Okay, you know what? Okay, yeah.
I'm just thinking, but in my opinion, I like giving people shit, whether that's my friends or partner. I like saying, you look a bit shit today, don't you? I like bullying people. It's funny. When you're comfortable with them, it's a bit of banter, fine. So for him to be like, oh, I'm bullying every department, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll give you some shit back. So I'll buckle in tight. He goes, what am I buckling in for? And I'm like, here we go. This is another one of those.
I am on board with your assessment of what's going on with this guy, okay? So I was just, being devil's advocate. However, after hearing this, I'm with you. Right? I'm with you.
The bullied.
I'm with
Done.
you. Yeah, I'm a bully in every department, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the thing. So number one, what I will say is, that's not all men. That's not even most men. But let me explain. Looking the way you look, there's a certain tier of man that you attract, okay? That's going to have the confidence to speak to you, or that you're going to swipe right on an app, okay? Now, for instance, like the guys that I coach, if you were messaging them back and forth, you wouldn't even get a remote sexual vibe, and you'd be like, there's nothing here whatsoever, because those guys, which is actually most men, terrified of actually expressing their sexuality. Funnily enough, actually, here's something. On a dating app, on dating apps in general, it's been basically worked out that people slightly differ. They say either 80% of women are matching with 10% of 20 or 20% of men. So 80% of women on apps match with 20% of men, or it's 90% of women matching with 10% of men. It's like differs. So the vast majority of men on an app are kind of getting nothing. But the point is, you're attracting a man with a certain degree of sexual confidence. That's part of it. Now, let's go into why he's actually doing what he's doing. The honest truth is this. So men attracted visually, right? Now, part of it is just that, you see, for women, sex is kind of like, I've used this analogy before, but you got one of those lights and it's got the dimmer switch and you turn it and it starts completely off, but you turn the dial. And it gradually gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, yeah? Men, it's like on, off, on, off, on, off, on, yeah? Something that men have to do, and all men do this, is we're on, off, on, off, on, off, but you're dealing with a woman who's like this. And you know that if you go too far, you're going to scare her away. So you basically slow down to match her degree of comfort. Now, sophisticated men do that. Men who aren't sophisticated, they don't know how to do that. They don't even know that they should. But that's honestly the thing. So for instance, if you watch porn, which is aimed at men, right? Porn is like, some woman goes, hey, do you want to fuck? And the guy's like, yeah. But then if you watch like, let's say 50 Shades of Grey or some sort of like erotic fiction, which is created for women, it's a man and woman meet and there's tension. But nothing really happens and he scares her a little bit and there's tension. And they meet a few times and slowly until there's like an explosion of sex. Point is that I'm trying to make is this guy's messaging you. So you gotta realize like a lot of the time when men are messaging you, he's like rock hard. And he's sending like his look-see pictures.
I'm not surprised. Like,
oh, excuse me, Mr.
I'm not. No,
Elegant.
but I'm like, I'm not.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I'm
not surprised.
I didn't mean it like that.
That's it. There you go. I'm clipping that. All right, cool.
But I mean, for the comments that come out, I'm like, feel not hard right now. That I don't understand what's giving you inspiration. Like,
so guess what? I want to interrupt this video to let you know that I'm also an author. I'm not just a dating coach, but I'm also an author too. And I've written a book that I spent a ton of time working on. It is called Preeta's Web of Chaos, and it is a young girl's journey of transformation. Now, what happens is that she encounters some situations that are really hard for her to deal with. They scare her, they terrify her, they push her outside of her comfort zone. And as a result of dealing with these hardships, she learns to find a strength, a resilience, a courageousness, and a power inside her that she did not know actually existed. Like I said, I tried really hard with this book, and the reason why I write it is because I wrote it is because I love to write stories. It's the main thing that I want to do, and I just want to share my passion with the world. So if you could find it in your heart to give it a try, there's a link in the description. I'll just love you for life. It can be tough to like suppress that. It can be. All right, so that's part of it. And then what else are things going on? It's like, it's true. And then, like, you know, I said to you before that like a man might feel like he has to promise like the earth, right? So this guy who's on Hinge, his profile's like, oh, I'm looking for the one. But maybe he's not actually looking for the one. Maybe he actually just wants to fuck. And then as a result, like little bits of it start to pop out. Another thing as well is, honestly, so as a man, you're in like a bit of an interesting situation when it comes to dealing with women, because while I totally understand your frustration, and I do, right? Look at the way you're looking at me.
I'm honestly raged.
Great, right? Feel that rage. I understand your frustration. On the flip side, it's kind of like this. A difficulty, like the dilemma that a man faces is, he was too sexual too early, right? And you're like, Jesus, bro, slow the fuck down, which I get. If he's not sexual at all, he eventually hits the friend zone. And I have this happen.
I don't agree with you.
Okay, well, fine. Well, let me finish my point, then I'll then disagree as much as you want. So a lot of the guys I coach, tons of them, are the exact opposite of what you've just said there. Okay? Where they're dating women, or they're trying to, and there's nothing going on, and then the woman says eventually she's just not feeling a vibe. You see, now when she says she's not feeling a vibe, what she really means is, I'm not feeling a flirtatious vibe or something between us which says this could be amorous, this could be romantic, this could be sexual. And in order for that to happen, it's like everything that guy did there, right, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? But there has to be a tinge of it in your interactions for you to be like, to this person,
I agree.
Great. And what I'm saying is, a difficulty that men face is striking that balance. That's a difficulty that men face. I'm not saying that I agree with this guy, but it is a difficulty that men face. Because on the one hand, if there's nothing, and you have no idea how many men come up to me about this, it's like, she says she's not feeling it. She says she just wants to be friends. And they are not doing what this guy you're talking about is doing at all. And if they were here listening to you, they'd be like, well, I don't do that. And when I don't do that, none of these women want me. So what the fuck? You know, and I talk to these guys all the time. So it's like, how do you actually strike the happy medium whereby there's enough for you to be like, oh, I'm talking to this guy and I quite like him, but he's not weirding you out?
My question to those men that aren't doing the thing that I've had that issue with is, what are you doing? Like,
They're doing nothing.
But that's the issue as well. Like, there's a balance. Like, you can't, if you're going to be friend zoned unless you make your lady or the lady aware that you like her, because otherwise the girl doesn't know how you're feeling. Like, but it works both ways. Don't get me wrong. But like, you if you've got a connection with someone, you'll have a flirt, this, that, and the other. But on the first text, man, you don't even know my last name yet.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I
agree. If I was with that guy, and let's say he was my friend, and he's like, "Oh, look at this girl, her name's Abigail, man. I just matched her on an app. I'm gonna send her this." I'm like, "Whoa. Like, don't send that." But so the actual question I guess you asked is, why is he doing that? So number one, he probably just wants to fuck. Number two, he doesn't really know what else to do. Number three, I mean, if he's saying that to you on the first message, he's probably not that serious about you. Really, if he's doing that so early, probably, he's fundamentally not that serious about you, because if a guy is serious about you, he's most likely gonna hold off on being sexual for quite a while until he actually starts to.
Well, I had a situationship where we'd met up a couple of times. We got along really well, but in all honesty, I just stopped dating. So I called it off. But he has reached back out again. I told him I wasn't dating and this, that, and the other, but he's reached back out again, and he's saying, "I've got unfinished business with you."
Oh.
And I told him when we were seeing each other that this is too soon for me anyway. I was very direct to him. I said to him, "Look, you sent me messages and I wasn't comfortable with that." And he was like, "Why not? I was just testing the waters." I'm like, "That's fair enough. I get it. But I just want to let you know it's too soon for me." But he's come back around after I've called off the whole dating scene, and he's saying we've got unfinished business. He's just not giving up.
Yeah, because persistence works.
So would you say in that situation he just wants sex?
I can't say one way or the other. He might just want sex or he might not. But the simple fact is this. Everywhere right now, there's like 7 billion people on the planet. And there's at least like 700 million married couples where the woman would say something like, "When I first met your father, I didn't think much of him."
This is true.
There you go. And all men know that persistence works. So the simple fact is that you can win a woman over by constantly basically proving yourself to her and being there over time, and gradually she grows to see how amazing you are. It could just be that. Like, he might just want sex. That's very possible, by the way. It's very possible. Just, like, very possible. It is. But he also might really like you. It's kind of, can't really say.
Interesting.
But there you go. Persistence does work. And with that, we shall conclude this video. Please do like and subscribe, and also actually drop a comment as well. So what do you think? What do you think about what we've been talking about? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What are your opinions? Let us know. Thank you very much, and goodbye.